So if you guys caught my recent budget fragrances video where I spoke about 2 COURREGES fragrances, I spoke about Berry Flash and Cedar Pulp in that video. But some time ago, I purchased 4 COURREGES fragrances, and it's a collection called Colognes Imaginaires. 20 bucks approximately on FragranceNet. They're still on there. All 4 of them are selling for 20 bucks. I'm going to talk to you about all 4 of these fragrances, and if they sound interesting to you guys, you're going to end up, finding them on FragranceNet for that price, because finding a quality fragrance for around 20 bucks is really great. And if you're in the market to buy some gifts or gift yourself with a great smelling fragrance, then definitely check out what I'm going to talk to you about here with the fragrances of COURREGES. So find out all about COURREGES 4 Colognes Imaginaires fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Are you familiar with COURREGES? It's a French fashion house that's not necessarily very popular here in the States. Whenever I go to France, I go to Printemps and I see their fragrances in that store. And then also at some Sephora's or Marionnaud's or, different perfume shops or retailers, I do see their fragrances, but never here in the States. So it is a French fashion house and they do release fragrances. And recently I've been seeing some great fragrances launching from this house. So I started, getting curious to sample them. They have these really great looking round bottles with these kind of round tops on them that I want to dig into further after this video and discover them and report back to you guys about them. But since I found these for very inexpensively on FragranceNet, 20 bucks each approximately, I wanted to talk to you guys about them. So the 2 that I really enjoy are Berry Flash, 2050 Berry Flash, 2060 Cedar Pulp. But there's also 2040 Nectar Tonka and 2030 Verbena Crush. These 2 are not as exciting for me, but as a third option, I would go with Nectar Tonka. My least favorite is Verbena Crush 2030. But what I'm going to do is do these in alphabetical order, and I'm going to speak to you about 2050 Berry Flash. We're skipping the numbers. We're going with the B Berry Flash, and I'm going to talk to you about this. So this is a fragrance created by Nicolas Beauulieu, and it's a woody, crisp green fragrance, and it features notes of juniper berries, cypress, fig, vetiver, cardamom, mandarin, cumin, geranium, musk, and laurel. So it's very aromatic, woody, and fresh and green, and then of course fruitiness. For me, there's this crisp sharpness about it from the juniper berries, and it gives you a bit of a metallic edge, but the fruitiness, it's got this kind of, the fig's fruitiness has a bit of a pulpiness in here, gives you this very, very interesting contrast to that kind of crispness from the juniper berries. Juniper berries, whenever they're mixed with the, the citruses, they kind of take on the kind of the sharp metallic characteristics. So if you want some ice cold fragrances, you want very invigorating and metallic ice cold fragrances, crisp fragrances, look for fragrances that feature the note of juniper berries. And that's exactly what we get here, is this very crisp contrast to this kind of pulpy, fruity fig note in this. So let's go ahead and quickly smell this on camera and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. This is, again, one of my favorites from this collection. It does say Colognes Imaginaires, so they are on a kind of a cologne-esque category of fragrances. So if you like that idea, fresher fragrances and things like that. So it's very, very fresh and crisp here. That's what I get first. When you put this on skin, the fruit kind of develops. It's got this kind of berry-like fruitiness. And even though it's berry-like, it's more the fig fruitiness in here. The fruitiness doesn't really jump out. Like, it doesn't scream figs. There's definitely fruitiness here. It's almost nondescript, but if you really focus on it, you'll kind of figure out the smell of the figs. And once again, figs are not necessarily uber fruity when it comes to the fruitiness, but they've done a pretty good job here with the notes and the combination. There's certainly something green in here for sure, and very herbal qualities with all the herbs that are in here. And the cumin I was mentioning, it doesn't come out too much on my skin, but maybe because, well, I'm sensitive to cumin. I can spot it or smell it. To me, I feel like it's hidden plenty. And it's just there to kind of, give it more of a spicy edge. We've got cumin, we've got cardamom. The laurel is a bit spicy as well. The geranium is a bit spicy. Juniper is a bit spicy, but the juniper kind of has that sharp, crisp, metallic touch. So it's a very ice cold fragrance, and I think Nicolas Beauulieu did a great job with this one. This is definitely one of my favorites from this collection. And for 20 bucks, I think it would make a great summer fragrance, especially, the fact that it's ice cold, crisp, sharp, metallic, with the, balance of the fruitiness, the greenness in here, all working really wonderfully together. So 2050 Berry Flash, really great fragrance for 20 bucks. If you're on a budget, you buy budget fragrances, definitely check that out. Definitely one of my favorites in the collection. All right, next up, we've got a fragrance created by Fanny. This is 2060 Cedar Pulp. Comes in this box right here. Again, these are all around $20, selling at FragranceNet. I have a link in the info box if you're curious to check these out. Definitely worth it. This, to me, I feel like it's the traditional style that I've come to know of this perfumer, Fanny. She does really great work with citruses and citrus floral notes. So this is a very citrusy, citrus floral fragrance with some other floral notes and, ambery touches in there as well. There's musk in here as well. If you know the fragrance Sale Gosse by Frederic Malle, that is a fragrance she created. And in one of the letter fragrances from Costume National, she created one of those. It's also another citrus floral. And then also, she's got a fragrance for d'Orsay that's also citrus floral focused. So this is kind of in line with her signature style. And if you like those fragrances, I've got a $20 version of it here is why I'm highlighting it. I would call this a fresh, woody, citrusy fragrance. It features notes of cedarwood, bergamot, almonds, musk, grapefruit, lemons, mandarin, orange, basil, cumin, neroli, amber, and freesia. Once again, the cumin note is here, but on me, it doesn't really pop through. There's definitely spiciness here, but it doesn't smell like most people associate cumin with BO. It doesn't smell like BO. At least on me, it doesn't. It smells really great. It's very fresh, invigorating. It's woods and citruses and muskiness there, so it's very, very fresh. Let's go ahead and quickly smell it, because this is definitely one of my favorites in the collection. I do enjoy these first two fragrances, and it's interesting that the order they're in are the fragrances, the first two fragrances in the alphabetical order are my two favorites. So Cedar Pulp. I like the name Cedar Pulp because we've got cedar woods in here, and we've got this kind of pulpy citruses as well. There's a bit of a laundry clean freshness here, and I think the fact that citruses and citrus floral notes combined together do give you that kind of a laundry-like quality. So there's a bit of a soapiness here, soapy edge, but you're picking up the musk for sure. There's loads of muskiness and loads of woods. The almonds give you a slight nutty creaminess in here. And this is why I feel like there's a bit of more of a soapy edge about this one, because I've used almondy soaps before. So this is really, really fun. I think this is great. And once again, this is going to be perfect for summer days. If you like to liberally spray your fragrances and don't worry about wasting your money, this is definitely one of the fragrances I would try, because again, I said she did a great job with some of the fragrances for Frederic Malle, Costume National, d'Orsay, combining citruses and citrus floral notes. And this is, once again, her signature style. It is those notes, again, with those three fragrances. But to me, this does not smell like those three fragrances, even though they're utilizing, the similar ingredients. Again, noses are different. You might say they're similar, but when you really focus on them, they're not going to remind you of one another, except for the fact that they're utilizing similar ingredients or notes. So this is COURREGES 2060 Cedar Pulp. All right, next up, it's 2040 Nectar Tonka. This one right here. I'm warming up to this one. It's not as exciting as the other two. It's not as inviting as the other two. This one seems a bit bitter and sweet bitter, if that makes sense. And also subdued. It doesn't really jump out. It's hidden, and you have to really, really focus on the notes and, figure out what this fragrance is all about. There's a bit of reminder of something tonka beanish, because I feel like it's called Nectar Tonka. So tonka bean's pretty much the prominent note in this. But it reminds me of something tonka bean-esque, but not anything that I wear a lot of. So it's not like Fève Delicious or things like that, where that goes completely gourmand. There's a bitterness about this one. And that's creating a not necessarily inviting and interesting, sweet, cozy fragrance. But it's a fragrance created by Benoist Lapouza, and it's considered an amber woody fragrance or woody amber fragrance. And it features notes of tonka beans, mandarin, ginger, cedarwood, sandalwood, bergamot, bitter orange, cardamom, vanilla, and jasmine. So in the end, it does sweeten up, warms up on skin, but it's very subdued and it's not a screamer. So if you like the idea of screamer fragrances, this is not it. I felt like the other two that I've spoken about so far have better scream, like a reach and projection and things like that. This one, you need a skin for it to develop. You definitely need it. The tonka beans do show up for sure. It's the prominent notes, but it's the kind of bitter almondy kind of tonka beans and not the gourmand kind here. Yeah, you're going to get nuttiness. You're going to get some light tobacco-ish touches with this. Maybe a bit leather as well, because I'm getting kind of a combination of that in here. And it does wear kind of creamy smooth. I feel like it's combined with the sandalwood that gives you that, the creamy smoothness. And also, when you got these combination, it's bitter and a bit medicinal as well. But you do have citruses. It's called Nectar Tonka, and we've got the nectar of these citruses that are in here. You got bergamot, you got mandarin, but there's zing and spice from the ginger. There's also spice from cardamom. And I feel like the cardamom is giving me the bitterness that's not necessarily very inviting. Now, some people might find this very interesting to wear. I just wish it was a bit more screaming and, also a bit sweeter to give me a bit more gourmand edge. So for me, Nectar Tonka is not necessarily working as well. I like it. I don't love it. And it's going to be one of those fragrances that I will not ever reach for. So this is COURREGES 2040 Nectar Tonka. Let me know if you've sampled these fragrances so far. Are you a fan of these? Which one sounds exciting to you so far? Let me know, put a comment down below. I want to quickly smell it for you as well, just so that I can explain a little bit more. So it's Nectar Tonka. Yeah, instantly there's a bit medicinal bitterness here, and I wanted something sweeter. I mean, it's tonka beans, but I think the execution didn't turn out as well for me. Just that bitterness is not that exciting. And when I think of tonka beans, I want it to go into gourmand direction. Here, it's a bit more tobacco-ish, a bit more bitter almondy, and not necessarily very gourmand. There's a little bit of leather as well, as I was saying earlier. I mean, this might work for somebody, but it's not exciting for me. And I'm glad to have it and talk to you guys about it, but I'm not recommending it to you guys. But who knows, if you sample it somewhere and you like it, by all means, get it for $20. And last but not least, we've got 2030 Verbena Crush, this one right here. So I don't hate this one. Once again, I don't love it as well. This one is also focusing on the verbena note. Verbena is sort of popular lately. I've seen a lot of different fragrances featuring this note. It's an aromatic herbal note that's kind of lemony and has this kind of lemony, smell to it, taste as well. And I feel like it's definitely a great note to give you not only an aromatic edge, an herbal edge, but also kind of a citrusy edge as well. So this is considered a citrus chypre fragrance, and it's created by Mylene Alran. Features notes of verbena, vetiver, bergamot, sandalwood, lemons, mandarin, musk, neroli, apricot, passion fruit, and rosemary. And I feel like it's the fruitiness that's in here that's given me a bit of a, rubbing me the wrong way kind of a thing. But it is definitely highlighting verbena and also lemons. Lemons comes in as well. And I usually see lemons with the verbena to kind of accentuate the lemoniness that's in here. And also, to have a kind of an aromatic herbal edge. But you'll notice the vetiver, it does get kind of grassy, woody, and it's a great combination, kind of a great note to combine with citruses. Vetiver really works great with citruses. Bergamot for more freshness. It does have a bit of floral touch here as well, but it does get very woody when it's drying down. Along the way, you'll have some muskiness. This is not as neroli forward as the other one that's created by Fanny, but the only thing that's in here that's really kind of rubbing me the wrong way, as I said, it's the fruitiness. And then also when I was wearing it, just a little reminder of something aquatic that's in here. So for me, it might be fine for someone. It's not working as well as the other two fragrances from the beginning. But let's go ahead and quickly smell this 2030 Verbena Crush. And if you've already gotten your nose on these fragrances, do let me know. Again, for 20 bucks, these are definitely worth the price, depending on what style you would like. But let's see. The rosemary also might be throwing in a bit of a toothpastiness. I don't know if that makes sense, but rosemary can get medicinal smelling, and you have to use the right amount. Otherwise, it could overwhelm. And here, I feel like it's in the way along with the fruits. But you know, somebody might like this one. It's not for me, but it's not bad. You know, it's not bad. It's pleasant. We're not breaking any new ground with these fragrances as well. I've smelled so many fragrances like these, but highlighting them because they're really inexpensive. But for me, this one is at the bottom. I would put it next to the Nectar Tonka. I think they're kind of equal. I don't hate them, but it's not something I would rush out to get, even though I blind bought all of these because they were 20 bucks. I would put these two at the bottom. But for me, the winners are these two. Really great, I think, for 20 bucks. This is 2060 Cedar Pulp and 2050 Berry Flash. Both really great quality work. And I think if you are in the market to buy something new and fresh, definitely check these out. These are selling at FragranceNet, and that's where I bought them from for around $20, I believe. So anyway, those are my thoughts on these Courrèges fragrances. But let me know your thoughts on this house. Do you have a favorite fragrance from this house? This is my first time reviewing fragrances from this house, and I want to definitely check out more. What do you recommend from this house? I want something that's inexpensive. I don't want to rush out and buy really expensive fragrances. So I'm waiting for those newer fragrances that are kind of cylindrical with these kind of ball-like tops, almost like a disco ball. I'm waiting for those to go to the discounter so I can buy a few, because I smelled some during my trips to France and I enjoyed some of them, but I don't want to pay full price for them. So either way, recommend me some fragrances from the house, maybe from some of the newer fragrances that are out that I'm talking about, or anything in general that you recommend from this house. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on these COURREGES Colognes Imaginaires fragrances. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.